Call the June 2nd, 2026 Stevens County Planning Commission meeting to order. I've asked Brett to open us with a word of prayer.
Bow your heads, please. Father, thank you for allowing us to live in this country and have the freedoms we enjoy, Father. Father, I pray that as we sit up here on this board and do things for our community, that you'll lead and guide us and direct us, Father. Father, I pray that you'll be in our community and bless our families. Pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Brett. All right, everyone should have a copy of last month's or this meeting's agenda. Anyone see any comments, questions, change of debate, or entertain a motion?
I'm not entertaining.
Okay. Got a motion?
Motion approved.
Second.
All right, got a motion second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? No. Motion carries. All right, you should also have a copy of last month's meeting minutes. Anyone see any, have any questions, comments on those, or I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. All right, and then moving straight into new business. Christian?
Okay, we'll now begin the public hearing portion of tonight's meeting. We have 6 items of business scheduled for tonight's meeting. The Planning Commission will take each item in turn and provide a recommendation for each item. Following from the recommendation, the matters will be forwarded to the Board of Commissioners, who will make the ultimate decision on each item. So make sure you come to the Board of Commissioners meeting to get the final decision rendered for each of the items. We will call each item in turn tonight. We ask, first we'll call for those wishing to speak in favor of each item. If you wish to speak in favor, we ask that you come up to the podium and give your name and address for the record. You will have up to 10 minutes to speak. You will see a timer on the screen counting down. As you see that and you see that read 0, we ask that you kindly wrap up your thoughts. Following from those wishing to speak in favor of each item, we will then ask for those wishing to speak in opposition to each item. And the same principles apply for those wishing to speak in opposition. Following from that, at the pleasure of the Planning Commission, a 3-minute rebuttal can be provided for any applicant if necessary. Are there any questions tonight about how the public hearing portion of tonight's meeting will commence? Okay, we'll go ahead and get into the items.
Yes.
Okay, item number 1 is a variance request from Corbin Tao at 610 Pheasant Mountain Road, Toccoa, parcel 029-011. The property is currently zoned as residential single, and the proposed action to be taken is to grant a 15-foot variance to the required 40-foot front yard setback for a total 25-foot front yard setback. The property is 3.14 acres in size and is presently vacant with a residential use proposed on the property. Again, the applicant is requesting a 15-foot reduction to the front yard setback. Pursuant to Chapter 59, Article 8 of the Stevens County Code of Ordinances, the minimum dimensional setbacks for the front yard are 40 foot to the front property line, and that these setbacks are established to provide adequate separation between structures, maintain visibility and roadway safety, and preserve the character of the area. With that being said, staff does find that the buildable area exists on the property that may allow placement in compliance with the setback requirements through additional site preparation, clearing, grading, or relocation of the structure. And staff recommendation is to deny the requested setback variance as it does not meet the required hardship variance. Are there any questions or comments from the Planning Commission before we open it up to the public? Okay. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of the item?
Y'all ready? All right. My name is Corbin Tao. Me and my dad have owned that property at the end of the cul-de-sac for over 30 years. All I'm trying to do is get a little variance. Trinity Homes is trying to build me a house for my family. been in Stevens County all my life, trying to move my family to Stevens County. And even Trinity said they have not had to deal with this much setback off a road. This is a cul-de-sac road. It's never going to be widened. The road leading to this road is narrower than the road I'm on. This is on top of a mountain. Nothing's possible to be extended on this cul-de-sac. I'm just asking for a variance so I can build my family a house. That's pretty much it. See, my deal here is Trinity is trying to charge me an extra minimum $10,000 if I have to push my house back due to the way of the land. We're dropping, and I have pictures provided, we're dropping tons of, we're going to add a bunch of blocks. And it's a minimum of $10,000, and that's not even including the tree removal. Honestly, I'm just trying to get some little bit of leadway so I can move my house just a little bit forward, just so I do not have to go to 10,000. Because what's that's going to happen is that's going to increase my loan, which is going to go into PMI, which I don't have, which I've been saving my money for years with my wife to build this house. It's going to increase. It's going to put me into PMI. It's going to put me. It's a hardship. I don't know what y'all consider a hardship, but $10,000 don't seem great to me. All I'm asking is just for a little variance to pass, just so I can get this house closer, just a little bit to the road.
I see you draw your sketch on here. So you're measuring 54 feet from the side of the road, is that correct? To where you want to place your house?
I think it was 40. Let me see.
Right there, road got 54 on the left-hand pin, 5 on the right-hand.
On the right-hand pin.
From the dead center of the road.
From the center of the road.
From the center, and I even measured the road.
If I'm not mistaken, the setbacks are measured from the right of way, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Got 30 and, okay. All right, thank you, sir.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the item?
I'll speak fair. That's my boy, and I'm proud of him. Richard Tile, 629 Pheasant Mountain Road, down there at the dead end. I've owned this property since 90, I believe I built it in 91. I bought it before then, of course. Just requesting a variance because of the topographical and financial hardship. Not everybody's got it. The kid's worked his butt off his whole life. I turned around and gave him 3 acres of land across the street because I want my grandbabies at my house. That's what I want, my grandbabies at my house. It is a hardship. You can go 7 foot down anywhere at the end of that road, probably at the beginning of the road. But all I can speak of, honestly, is the end of the road. You go down 7 foot and you're going to hit rock. I hit 7 foot on my whale in 1991, and I went 496 foot before I had any more water. And pushing that back, giving me that variance to let us go ahead as planned, build a nice house, bring the county revenue. But on the back side, if I move it back to where it meets the county's requirements or whatever restrictions, regulations, if I move it back, I bought the young lady here, we put a line on it, and yeah, you got it. They're not too good photography. It's hard to take a picture of a hill, but just from the back pin of the house to where the county's wanting it to go is an 82 or 83 inch drop, which means you're going to have to dig down that much farther or lay block that much higher. And of course, 82 inches is 10 blocks. All we're asking is just a little leeway to make a nice home at the cul-de-sac. That whole road is bought up. Me, my neighbor, everybody down the road, Rex Patterson. Rex grabs everything up as it comes. And I've always told anybody they get ready to sell, give me dibs. Like I say, young lady here actually came out, and I thank her for that, because that was my request a month ago, for somebody from the county to actually come out, put foot on the property, which I assumed. You know what assumed is? I assumed that there was a little bit more leeway in the county than there was in the city, but I was wrong. Because I ran a business in the city of Toccoa for 35 years or more, so since 92. And over governmental regulation was one of the reasons that I sold. The city got big with their sign ordinances. They had no problem selling me a license to be a sign guy, but then turned around and told me they had to approve my work. Now, they always have no problem taking money, but when it's time to give a little, they don't give a little. And that was one of the reasons my neighbor come by, Scott Elmer at Absolute Security, and said, Richard, you want to sell this place? And I said, why, man? I've been paying on it on the balloon note for 30 years. I'm actually fixing to get a paycheck. But I weighed it out. I thought, I'll shoot straight away. I said, who's ever going to want property on Stevens Drive? So I let him have it. I do all my work on the road and all that, but all I'm asking is leeway, a little bit of leeway for my son to build him a house. I can assure you one thing, it'll be upkept better than mine. And that's not saying much. Mine's pretty much upkept, but I got a little bit of clutter, and I'm not going to lie about it. It's my clutter, and it's paid for. And I take care of my neighbors, and my neighbors take care of me. We got a good neighborhood down there, and no problems with nobody. And all I'm asking is just a little bit of leeway. And I was going to ask you this. It says staff recommendation. What is this? Was it you, Christian, the staff, or you got more people that decided to deny this?
So staff does not make a decision. Staff makes a recommendation.
Yeah.
And yes, that came from me, looking at the, yes, sir.
You're
looking
the sole staff?
We've got multiple staff that handle, yes, sir. But I take the responsibility for it.
Well, I'm not asking for responsibility. I don't understand all this. I just want to know.
So it's a state mandated process, so the staff handles the initial review of an application. Following from that, the planning commission handles the review, and then
Right.
final decision goes to the board of commissioners.
Yeah, who all has looked at my property?
It's been looked at by the planning commission, it's been looked at by staff, and it's been looked at by the board of commissioners.
And it's been looked at, and it was put down for denial.
That's the initial recommendation, yes, sir.
Initial record, yeah, I understand that. That's pretty much all I got to say. I would like to thank young lady for actually putting, county needs to hire, give her a raise, number one, and, or at least hire somebody to come down there instead of just going by rule. You know that rules, there's always a place to bend them, not necessarily in somebody's favor, but there's a need to. I mean, just like on your accessory structures that you just redone. There's a need to do it at times, and I feel like this is one of the times. The kids starting out, it's hard enough. Stevens County's a broke county. Folks don't want to face that, but it's facts. I work with these folks, and I know them. But I appreciate you listening to me, and if you got any more questions, I'll be glad to answer. I have nothing to hide. I still got the line laying down there. And I told this young lady here that it's still laying down there, and you're welcome to check my measurements on it.
This photo where you're holding the rod, that is the back of the house or the front of the house?
I'll be honest with you, I'm blind as a bat.
Oh,
That's
where
the back.
you've got your,
That's the back of the property.
that's the back of the
Yes,
house.
that's the back, where it drops down 82 inches. I thought I wrote it on there, maybe I didn't, but there's a picture of the ruler on there. What this is, it just drops off a terrace, and like from where we're at the back pin now, all the way to the back, it's an 82-inch drop. And I'm afraid not only is it going to affect the house when we go to digging, if we got the house there, then we're also going to have the drop for your septic tank. And that's the part that really scares me. I then had the perk test and all done, and it come out fine.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the item? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the item? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? All right, the land use public hearing for item number 1 is concluded. You want to go ahead and vote, or you want to move on to the other items?
I would go ahead and vote.
Okay.
If that's okay with everybody. All right, any discussion?
Christian, what's our threshold for constituting a hardship?
So the typical definition of hardship is going to include something like topography, which they are claiming a topographical hardship. It does not include finance. So things like this may cost more money or something like that is not something that we can take into consideration for a hardship. But topographical is certainly a hardship to take into consideration.
Okay. Discussion or entertain a motion? Allison?
So with that in mind, non-consideration of the financial hardship side of it. And there is some slope and slants but I do think, or I believe that with a little bit more time and effort and finances, it can still be done to meet those setbacks without the variance. This is where, as a board, becomes tough. But I think I'm going to stick with the staff's recommendation.
Feel bad because I know how hard it is, people trying to homes, and I mean,
Okay. Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Voted on it, can I go ahead and get my rebuttal in and be done with me?
Well, we didn't really have any opposition, so I don't think that's, if there was,
Can't use that time up there.
just make sure you come to the commissioners meeting
I'm
too.
not coming to the commission meeting, I mean, it's obvious to me that you're wanting to follow the guidelines. I'll be honest with you, the founding fathers that founded this country's house would not meet Stevens County's guidelines. And I don't want you to think I'm a crazy man or anything like that, but I am a sovereign citizen. My rights come from God, established by the Constitution to keep from overbearing government. And right now what you're doing is cutting into my right of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, being very different things. And I don't mean to sound angry. This is a kid that's just starting out, got a 1-year-old and a 5-year-old, works hard, works overtime, and does the best he can. And I'm thinking, here, I'm going to get my kids down there with me, but the answer's no. If you can live with it, I can live without it, and you probably can't live with it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Of course, I'm kind of let down. Property, which I do appreciate. Office, we got a bunch of people we paying for, working for me, working for the community, wants to get voted on. Don't even come and look at nothing against you. If you want to take the rap for it, sit there and deny it without even stepping foot. Not a single person in this county has stepped foot on my property other than her and the septic tank, the septic permit. I'm going through all of the permits like I'm supposed to and everything, and I can't get any variance for this. And it's honestly, it's ridiculous. It makes me want to leave. I work at Hard EMC, just to be honest with you. I got choices what county I can live in. I don't have to live here. You know what? I would love to live here. I've lived here all my life, but all of this is a disappointment from all of y'all, just to be honest with you. But and you know what? I'm not going to tell everybody, just to be honest with you, I wish she would have spoke up for me. She said she would. No words. Or I ain't gonna tell nobody kiss my ass. Look, what comes around, it always comes back around.
Thank you, sir. All right. Move on to the next item.
All right. Item number 2 is a rezoning request from Terry Dooley at 677 Shady Lane, Toccoa, parcel 043255. The property is currently zoned as agricultural intensive, and the proposed action to be taken is to rezone tracts 2 and 3, approximately 3 acres of the subject property, from agricultural intensive to agricultural residential. The property is 20.7 acres in size, and they are looking to rezone 2 tracts from AI to AR. Pursuant to Section 59-400 of the Stevens County Code of Ordinances, the AR district is intended to preserve rural character, support agricultural uses, and allow low-density residential development, and the proposed rezoning is consistent with this intent. With that being said, recommendation from staff is to approve of the rezoning request for the 2 tracts totaling approximately 3 acres at 677 Shady Lane. Are there any questions or comments from the Planning Commission? Okay. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of this request? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this request? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? All right, the land use public hearing for item number 2 is closed.
Pretty cut and dry. No, yep, I second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
All right, item number 3 is a rezoning request from Elijah Webb at Oak Brook Trail, Toccoa, parcel 054A004. The property is currently zoned as residential single, and the proposed action to be taken is to rezone the subject property from residential single to agricultural residential. The property is 3.23 acres in size, currently undeveloped, and they are looking to rezone the entire parcel for single-family residential use. Same principle applies as from the previous one. According to the code, this section is intended to preserve rural character, support agricultural uses, and allow low-density residential development, and it is the belief that the proposed rezoning is consistent with this intent. The subject property is 3.23 acres, currently undeveloped, and surrounding properties include AR usage and larger residential single usages. The AI property to the northwest is 44.84 acres, and the northeast AR zone property is 29.67 acres. With that being said, recommendation from staff is to approve of the rezoning request. Are there any questions or comments from the Planning Commission? Okay, is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of this request? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this request? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? All right, the land use public hearing for item number 3 is closed.
I'll just make mention, I believe this looks like it is in a platted subdivision. If there are covenants,
If there are covenants, like
not
let's,
for us to consider, but just to, if whoever's if the owner's out there, to make that aware that.
yeah, if there are covenants against, like, let's say farm animals or anything like that, those would be subject.
Motion to approve.
All right, got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
All right, item number 4 is a conditional use request from Aaron Santor for Grace Covenant Fellowship at 201 Alewind Drive, Toccoa, parcel T02009. The property is currently zoned as commercial general. Let me go ahead and pull this up on my document. The proposed action to be taken is to grant a conditional use permit to allow operation of a small private school within the existing church property. And let me grab it here. Apologies, my computer suddenly decided to close out the application. All right. Apologies. Okay. Again, we're looking at the same style of rezoning as we saw previously. This is conditional use. Apologies, y'all. All right, the property is approximately 8 acres in size, currently utilized by a church. The proposed use would be a small private school serving grades 4 to 8 in conjunction with the existing church use. Surrounding land uses include mixture of institutional, low-density residential development and undeveloped properties, and the surrounding zonings are primarily commercial and residential zoning in the surrounding vicinity. You'll also notice that there's some city property bordering the county property as well. Section 59-1102 of the Stevens County Land Use Regulations identify both churches and public-private schools as conditional uses within the CG zoning district. The proposed request is therefore eligible for consideration as a conditional use by the Stevens County Planning Commission and the Board of Commissioners. The proposed private school would operate within an existing institutional use and is not anticipated to substantially alter the character of the property or the surrounding area, and it does request and represent an expansion of services associated with the existing church campus rather than the establishment of a new intensive commercial or industrial use. Based upon staff review, the request does not appear to adversely impact surrounding properties. And with that being said, staff recommends approval of the conditional use request as submitted. Are there any questions or comments from the Planning Commission?
Don't think so.
Okay. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of this request?
Hi, my name is Amy Laird, and I attend Grace Fellowship Toccoa, and I'm also an educator. I've been so for over 20 years, and my heart and vision is to start a ministry of the church, a school in Grace Fellowship Toccoa. Let me give this to you guys if you want to. So we hope to serve Toccoa and surrounding counties. We want it to be a school for the community, not just the church. A Christian school that would operate as a traditional day school, serving grades 5 to 8. The model would be blended outdoor and experiential learning along with traditional learning, supporting the Georgia Standards for Education. We would serve 5 days a week, 8:15 to 3:15, a traditional schedule. The capacity would be small, up to 50 students, and then the structures we would use would be some church space along with outdoor cabins that would be behind the church. You can see on the map there. We do want to incorporate an outdoor learning model, so these would be low impact. We want to keep as many of the trees as possible, but to build a space where the students are in greater proximity to the land. And parking, we already have a big parking lot that sustains, upwards of 100 people at a time. We wouldn't, have any more traffic than we would on a given Sunday coming in and out, which, doesn't seem to pose a problem. My heart and vision is I've worked in education, like I said, for over 20 years, and I've always served at-risk teens and families that are struggling. And I want to get on the other side of that and just support families early on and help to just create a culture where Christian virtues are exhibited and also propagated, and where we can give a quality education, give that opportunity for our community, a private school that we don't have for middle grades and hopefully even on up to high school. But it's something that I think our community needs. My daughter attends OLS, which is the outdoor learning school. It's a private school that goes up to 4th grade now. And there's, a horde of students there that don't have anywhere to go, after 4th grade for parents that want private Christian education. And so I hope to be able to offer that through my church and it be a blessing for the community as well and surrounding counties. Yeah.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this item?
Good evening. How are y'all? I'm Tim Ord. I'm the associate pastor at Grace Fellowship, and I just wanted to say we're excited about the opportunity to host the school, to have it grow within our ministry. Just looking at the map there, you can kind of see the grayed out image. If you go on Q Public and sort of draw your way around, we use about 1.382 acres of that property. So space-wise, there's a good bit of area behind the facility. And it just, we're excited to do that. Aaron Santor is the senior pastor, and the request is made in his name. Couldn't make it tonight, but just wanted to say that, and looking forward to the opportunity to really minister to some kids and give some other options for education in the area. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this item? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this item? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? The land use public hearing for item number 4 is closed.
Second.
All right. Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
All right, item number 5 is a rezoning request from Matthew Mudge at 1200 Shady Lane, Toccoa, parcel 043-186P. The property is currently zoned as agricultural intensive. The proposed action to be taken is to rezone 1.84 acres from the subject property to agricultural residential. Recommendation from staff is to approve as requested. The property is approximately 33.36 acres in size with 1.84 acres to be rezoned. The goal would be to utilize it for home site and residential use. Surrounding land uses are predominantly agricultural, undeveloped, and rural residential. And with that being said, staff recommendation does believe this is compatible and recommends approval as requested. Are there any questions or comments from the Planning Commission? Okay, is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of this item? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this item? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? The land use public hearing for item number 5 is closed.
Okay. Any questions, comments, or entertain a motion?
Motion approved.
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Our last item tonight is a rezoning request from Brent Haddock, D4 Road, Toccoa, parcel 060009. The property is currently zoned as agricultural intensive, and the proposed action to be taken is to rezone 3.24 acres from the subject property to agricultural residential. The property is approximately 18.10 acres in size, of which 3.24 acres would be rezoned. The site appears suitable for limited residential use consistent with the rezoning requirements, and the proposed rezoning is not anticipated to create adverse impacts, as permitted uses within the AR district are similar in intensity to the surrounding uses. Rezoning the property to AR may reduce potential land use conflicts by providing a transition between the agricultural and residential uses within that area while maintaining compatibility with the adjacent properties. A recommendation from staff is to approve as requested. Are there any questions or comments from the Planning Commission? Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of this item? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this item? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? All right, the land use public hearing for item number 6 is closed.
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. All right, any more business?
No, sir, I would just remind folks in the audience that we do have a called Board of Commissioners work session at 7 o'clock tonight to discuss the proposed data center ordinance. So we do encourage folks to stick around and participate in that if they'd like to.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Make sure we tell everybody to fresh up commissioners.
Okay. For those here for the commissioners meeting, if you had a recommendation tonight, you still have to go to the commissioners meeting, which would be 2 weeks.
Yes, sir, I can get you the exact date. That would be, the meeting will be held on Tuesday, the 23rd.
Okay, so you still need to go to that meeting Tuesday, the 23rd. The commissioners, Board of Commissioners will issue the final decision. So y'all need to go to that. All right, I got a motion to. No, this is only for the hearing tonight for the planning commission items, nothing on the data centers. That's just for this, so. Yes. Got a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, got a motion second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed?